Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an honor and a privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys joining me here. A bunch of friends standing around a virtual water cooler talking about our favorite things in the world, movies and things going on like that, television, some other things in the world too. Whatever you guys want to talk about, this is Open Mic, and it's a busy day. We began moving yesterday. You can barely tell right now, but I am in my new place. We moved the studio from the old place to the new place today, and then today, as soon as I'm done this show, I got to scoot back to mine and Ann's old apartment, and the movers are meeting us there to move all the rest of the stuff over here today. So it's a little different around here now. How you guys doing there today? All right. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. And we start off with the first live question today. It comes to us from Alexander Helmer, who writes, Peter from the end of Deadpool 2 trailer is already amazing. You know what is crazy? All online was talking about yesterday was Deadpool. Was Peter in the Deadpool trailer. That's it. When somebody first mentioned Peter, I thought they meant Colossus, because that's Colossus' real name. But the dude Peter is now the sensation of the internet. I saw so many memes, so many calls for a Peter spin-off movie. It was just awesome. And yes, that whole scene with Deadpool, and TJ Miller sitting there at the table interviewing people, that was a very Mystery Men thing. That was totally a Mystery Men thing. But man, when he comes in there and goes, Peter, superpowers? No? All right, you're in. And then you see him skydiving. It's like in a trailer that was filled with great moments, all right? That had the Thanos reference, that had the One-Eye Willie reference, which I totally missed the first time I saw the trailer, which had the DC reference and all that kind of stuff. The moment of the trailer was, you got any powers? No? All right, you're in. Hard cut to Peter skydiving with the rest of the team. Glorious. And only in a Deadpool movie can you get away with something like that. It was delicious and awesome, and I was so glad to see everyone on the internet, that's all they were talking about was Peter, Peter, Peter. So it was really, really great to see. All right, let's move on to the next question here. Next question comes to us from ZOMG Ruler, who writes, wonder why Natasha is blonde. Any theories, John? Well, I'm going to assume you mean Black Widow and in the Infinity War trailer. Well, the question is really, why not? I mean, she's basically had a different hair color in every single movie. Remember, she started off as a redhead, then went darker, then went a bit lighter, now is blonde. I mean, it's par for the course. I mean, it's not like Black Widow has had one hair color throughout her existence in the MCU. It feels every movie she's in, her hair is a little bit different. Not just different color, but different cut, different style. It's different every single time. I'll admit, blonde is not my favorite on her, but it's, look at Scarlett Johansson. She's going to look great no matter what color her hair is. I think we can all agree on that. But yeah, so why is it blonde? Because it's been different in every other movie. I mean, I have no doubt at some point, if she's around in the MCU long enough, at some point her hair will be blue, or her hair will be green, or her hair will be plaid, or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's not really why is it blonde? It's why wouldn't it be blonde at this point? Because every film has changed. Let's see. Kyle B writes, I know you don't like the Civil War going on in Arrow. I really don't. It's terrible. But what do you think about the villain? I think he's pretty good. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Their villain this season, what is his name? I think I'm going to go on a limb and say Carlos Diaz, I think is the villain's name. I can't remember for sure, but I think it's Diaz. Not a bad villain. Actually, a very solid villain for an Arrow show. You know what I mean? And the fact that he's got his old Bratva buddy working with him and all that kind of stuff. I really hope they become friends again, Nikolai. I hope Nikolai and Oliver become friends again and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, their whole Civil War angle sucks. Really, really sucks. And makes no sense whatsoever. But I'll give it its due. The villain is not bad. And the whole angle they're taking with fake Laurel and all that kind of stuff, also not bad. They're doing some things okay this season. Unfortunately, their whole overarching thing about the Team Arrow Civil War thing is just ridiculous and stupid and kind of ruins anything else good that they're doing at the moment. But hey, it looks like they're going in a better direction now, so we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, next one comes to us from Manuel Fernandez, who writes, have you seen the hashtag FilmStruck4 trend lately, where you choose the 4 films that define you / shaped you? What films would you choose? Oh, I'd have to think about that a lot. It's really about the films that made me fall in love with film. Realistically, it would be Star Wars Empire, Return of the Jedi. If you wanted me to use those just as one film, there'd be that. Highlander is one of the movies that totally made me fall in love with movies, is Highlander. I don't know, man. That's something I would seriously have to think about for a few minutes, and not something I can think about off the top of my head right now. But, I mean, if just literal 4, Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, and then probably Highlander. Those are the movies that made me just completely fall in love with movies and kind of set my course for being involved in film for the rest of my life. Let's see. Next one comes to us from Kyle B, who writes, was that a sold-out showing of Quiet Place they had today? They had today. I'm guessing you mean today. The showing because there was not enough room because kids snuck in. Has this happened to you? I've never really had that happen to the point that it becomes a problem, but yet another reason why all movie theaters should be assigned. All movie theaters in North America should be pre-assigned seating, because then that doesn't become a problem. Some kid sneaks in and it's a packed house, but you got your tickets. Hey, I'm E6 and you're sitting in E6, kid. Get the hell out. I mean, it just solves your problem like that. I have heard of other people going into a theater. They bought a movie ticket, not pre-assigned seating. They bought a movie ticket, go into the theater to grab their seat, and it's a packed theater and there's no seats left. It's like, well, I got a ticket. There should be a seat for me somewhere because of the whole people sneaking into other theaters. If there were pre-assigned seating, guess what? That's not a problem. That's no longer a problem. Hey, dude, I got my ticket that says E6. And kid, you're sitting in my seat. You don't want to move? Fine. You get the staff throw them out. So that solves yet another reason on an already mountain of reasons why every single movie theater should have assigned seating. Absolutely. ZOMG Ruler writes, if DC reboots, should they bring back Soup's trunks? Oh, God, no. Hell no. The red undies is something that, this is another great example of something, whether it's a style, a fashion, or a color scheme, that works perfectly well on a printed page. Superman's red underoos on the outside of his pants looks fine on the printed page. Looks completely fine on the printed page. It looks ridiculous in live action because there have been live action iterations with the red underoos, right? And it looks dumb. To me, personally, it looks completely ridiculous. So, no, if they end up rebooting Superman, you don't. I mean, change up the costume. Sure, every version of the movie should have its own unique little style, its own unique little flavor of the costume. I remember once, for those of you who might be saying, John, don't say fool around with the costume. Keep it to the original. Keep it to the comic book costume. Bryan Singer once made a great observation because he had his movie Superman Returns coming out, right? Which I actually quite appreciate. Even though it's not a very good comic book movie, I thought it was a good movie. There's a difference. Anyway, somebody asked Bryan Singer at Comic-Con once. I love this story. Bryan Singer was doing a Superman panel at Comic-Con. And somebody asked him, because the movie hadn't come out yet, it was still coming. And somebody said to him, why did you decide to change the Superman costume? Right? To which he gave a brilliant answer. Bryan Singer looks, well, when you say change the costume from what? And he goes on to say, there have literally been 42 iterations, most of them tiny minor changes, but there have literally been, he said at the time, 42 iterations of the Superman costume in the comics. So When you say to me, why did you change the costume? I will ask you, change the costume from what? Which one? There's so many different iterations. And again, most of them are minor, tiny detail ones, some a little bit more significant. But it's, change it from what? So I thought that was a great answer. But anyway, getting back to the original question again, if they reboot Superman, should they give him back his red underoos? Fuck no. No, I do not want they look ridiculous. I think they look ridiculous at any rate. Some of you guys may want it, and that's cool. But if you're asking me my opinion, I think they look ridiculous. I don't want to see them back. All right. Karthik Rao writes, of all the stupid CGI Lucas added later in episode 4, he couldn't even think of giving Chewie a CG medal at the end of the movie. Yes, I mean, okay, look, we've been going on and on a lot lately about the whole Chewbacca not getting a medal thing and all that kind of stuff. You raise a great point. With all of the changes, most of them completely stupid and ridiculous, but with all of the changes that Lucasfilm and George did with the special edition, all the CGI editions, why not? You don't even have to refilm anything. Just say that Leia putting the medal on Chewie happened off camera, and that last shot that goes to the front of the stage looking at the characters, Luke and Han's back or to the audience, and that last shot where it cuts back wide and Luke and Han turn around to face the camera and the rest of the audience there, why not just have Chewie turn around and put the damn medal on him? To say, oh, yeah, he just got put on him off camera. Well, why not do that? With all of the changes that you made, why not make that change? Anyway, just my thought. Good observation, Rao. All right, next one comes to us from Ricardo Ramirez. And Ricardo Ramirez writes, John, on yesterday's show, I made a recommendation for a show on Netflix called La Casa de Papel. I just wanted to let you know Netflix changed the title of the show, and it's called Money Heist. Yes, and I see you followed that up. It's about 9 robbers try to take over Spain's royal mint and print as much unmarked bills as they can. Money Heist, I have heard of. That I have heard of. And I believe I even saw a Netflix preview for it. So that does look good. I haven't seen it. I mean, even with the different title, I still haven't seen it. I have not seen it yet, but now I know what you're talking about. Because yeah, yesterday, I think I remember you asking that and going, man, I've never even heard of this. But Money Heist, I have heard of. So now I know the one you're talking about, and it does look good. It does look quite good, actually. Okay, next one comes to us from Mason Barr, who writes, hey, John. Just wanted to say congrats on the new place. I don't know if I said it yet. My question is, what's the difference between based on a true story and based on true events? Is it the same thing? Okay, yeah. So we were talking the other day about, and I can't remember if it was your question, Mason, but this question is coming up a little bit about, how much responsibility do filmmakers have that if they're going to use that moniker based on a true story, how much responsibility is there for filmmakers to be as true to the real life events as possible? My opinion is very little responsibility. I don't think they should, because these aren't documentaries. They are not educators. Their job is to make a movie. And if it can be based on true events, that's fine. If it's, as long as they say based on true events, where the water gets a little bit more murky is when they say the true events, but when they use the word based on true events, then I think you give yourself some flexibility there, and I'm fine with that. So anyway, Mason's following up here. Is there a difference between saying based on a true story and based on true events? I don't know. I mean, somebody smarter than me may say that, yeah, there's a difference. Off the top of my head, my thought is that the two are synonymous. I think the two are interchangeable. I mean, usually when you say based on true events, usually you're talking about like the Boston Marathon bombing, or you're talking about, the U.S. team winning the hockey Olympic gold medal, or you're talking about like an event that's based around an event. True story is something that's not based on a popular event, but based on a true story. So really, I think you could use them interchangeably. I think the way I see marketers have used it has been a little bit different, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's based on something probably not 100% accurate, nor do I feel they need to be. As long as they're not purporting that it's 100% accurate, then I don't feel they need to be. So anyway, that's just kind of how I see it. Interesting question though, Mason. What about you guys? Do you see a difference between saying something is based on a true story and something is based on true events? Do you see a kind of difference in there, or do you think like me that it's just kind of interchangeable? Let me know what you think. Jump down to the comment section and leave your thoughts. All right. Next one comes to us from Manuel Fernandez, who writes, thoughts on Bill Maher. Personally, I hate the guy. Well, I mean, I'm not going to go into it too much. Bill Maher is more of a political figure than anything, and I don't get into politics on my show. But I will say this. I find Bill Maher to be like many other people. He says some things that are very profound and very well said and makes excellent, well thought out arguments and points. And then there are other times that he sounds like a lunatic and he comes across completely ridiculous and stuff like that, like most people. So Bill Maher, to me, on that level, is really no different than most people that I see or observe or watch. As far as the specific political views and opinions he makes, I'm not going to get into that stuff on this show. But yeah, like most people, some of the stuff he says is really fun and profound and smart, and some stuff completely the opposite. So anyway, that's just kind of how I think. Karthik Rao writes, over under 5% Ultron cameo and Infinity. Oh, way under. 0. Unless it's a flashback or something. Anyway, let me finish reading your question. Over under 5% that the Ultron cameo in Infinity War. And since we don't really see him die, and I think Vision absorbs him into the Mind Stone at the end of Avengers 2. Well, I don't think he absorbs a machine into the Mind Stone. Remember, Ultron at the end of the day is just a machine. And so, I mean, it would be the same thing as him absorbing a microwave into the Soul Stone. I mean, ultimately, really, that's what it is. Ultron is a robot. He is a computer program and a machine. I think you're right. We don't explicitly see him die, but it is implied. It is implied. Which is not unlike the Luke Skywalker situation in Episode 8. There's nothing that explicitly says Luke dies in the movie. In the movie, nothing explicitly says he dies, but it is heavily implied. So why would I give Luke Skywalker a 5% chance of being alive, but not Ultron? Well, for a couple of other reasons. The narrative function of him is done. There is no purpose or reason to bring in Ultron. Not to mention, again, this movie is already way overcrowded. This movie is already way overcrowded. There's just no point, function, or necessity in having Ultron appear. In this movie, I mean, maybe they do something with him later on in the MCU, sure, but in this movie, it seems completely pointless. And all it would be doing is adding more, more stuffing to a pillow that's already about to burst at the seams. There's just too much in it already. So I would go under 5%. I'd go well under 5%. Miles Pardo writes, yesterday it was Taron Egger, not... Oh, I think you mean Taron Egerton, not Joel... Or Taylor Egerton, not Joel Edgerton. Yeah. So somebody brought up a thing yesterday about... I thought about this afterwards. Somebody brought up a question, and what I thought they were writing was, what do you think about like Joel Edgerton? It was Edgerton, but I think they wrote Egerton, but I thought they just misspelled Edgerton, playing Elton John. And I'm like, wait, I don't think he is playing Elton John. Is that a theoretical question? Blah, blah, blah. But what they meant was Taron Egerton is what they meant, who is going to be playing Elton John. They announced that a long, long time ago, and now the film apparently has gotten a green light. So Taron Egerton is playing Elton John. What do I think about it? Whatever. I don't care. You know me. I don't care. Is the actor we're talking about a good actor? Taron Egerton is a good actor. Then I'm cool. I also would have been cool if it was Joel Edgerton. Ultimately, I don't care as long as it's a good actor playing the role. But sure, that is one of the actors that I'd go, yes, that's a decent choice. That's a good choice. So let's see how it actually turns out. HV39000 writes, yesterday somebody was talking about Elton John movie. He got the wrong actor, not the guy from... Oh, okay, so it's exactly right about the exact same thing. Yes, it was not Joel Edgerton. It was Taron Egerton. And yeah, look, again, it's a good casting. Will it work out? We'll have to wait and see. But as long as it's a good actor, I'm all for it. And Taron Egerton is a good actor. I loved him in Eddie the Eagle. You know what? I actually like him more in Eddie the Eagle than I even like him in Kingsman. And I love him in Kingsman. But as Eddie the Eagle, he was amazing. And I know a lot of you guys haven't seen Eddie the Eagle with Taron Egerton and Hugh Jackman. I know a lot of you guys haven't seen it because it didn't do all that well at the box office. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful movie. And if you really want to see what kind of acting chops Taron Egerton has, watch that movie. He's fantastic in it. Okay. Oops, and there goes the big jump. Hold on a second. Let me back up now. See, what happens is the questions that get sent in get lined up, but then it refreshes and like all of a sudden a whole ton more of questions get shown up here. Okay, let's see. Luke1234 writes, Ginger or Marianne? Oh, that's easy. That's easy. Marianne. Marianne. First of all, Ginger would be way too high maintenance. Way too high maintenance. Secondly, farmer's daughters, dude. Farmer's daughters. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Marianne guy. The man with the plan writes, John, since True Lies is your favorite action movie, what is your most memorable scene? Mine is when Simon says, I got a little dick and pisses himself. That is one of the greatest moments ever. I'm pathetic. I mean, it's great. That is such a wonderful scene. One of the other really great scenes to me is when Schwarzenegger is fooling his wife, Jamie Lee Curtis. He's fooling his wife into thinking like he's some kind of, she doesn't know it's him, right? And he's like using tape recorder to speak to her. Take your clothes off. Now dance slowly. I mean, that scene kills me every time. I also love the chase scene with the horse. And then the horse won't jump over the building or from building to building and Arnold's chewing out the horse. I mean, there's the scene where he's in the fighter jet. The funniest moment of the movie to me, though, is when Tom Arnold and Arnold Schwarzenegger see through a spy cam that Arnold's daughter is stealing money out of a wallet. And Tom Arnold goes, you know what she's probably stealing the money for? An abortion. He kills. I've never liked Tom Arnold as much as I love him in that movie. If for no other reason that I had always wished they had done a True Lies 2 was simply so Tom Arnold could have come back to that character again. But yeah, I dig that movie a lot. Okay, let's move on here. Mr. Hank Dunn writes, over or under 5% that we see Channing Tatum as Gambit in Deadpool 2. I'd take the under on that. Look, I'm all for Channing Tatum as Gambit. I know a lot of people poo-pooed on the idea, and I used to hate Channing Tatum. For those of you who have followed me long enough back to the movie blog days, back when I did the movie blog, I used to say for a couple of years, Channing Tatum is bar none the worst actor in Hollywood getting work. He is the worst actor getting work. And he was. But as time went on, and he continued to work his ass off and train and learn and get lessons and work hard and work harder and work harder, he started getting not terrible. Then he started getting serviceable. And then he started getting good. And then, you know, I really think the apex of it was when you get to Foxcatcher. And it's, look, that's the performance of a good actor. Not just okay, not just serviceable, but now a legit good actor. When you saw him in Foxcatcher, as a result of years and years and working his ass off. And now we're to the point where I have gone from, I think Channing Tatum is the worst actor in Hollywood getting work, to now, you know what? I look forward. When I hear that Channing Tatum's in a movie, I now look forward to it. And I think Channing Tatum is a great example of an actor who may not be all that good, but with the right work ethic and all that kind of stuff, they can get good and get more than just good. They can become very good. And because of that, while a lot of people were poo-pooing on the idea about Channing Tatum as Gambit, I was actually, you know what? I don't know what your problem is. He's super athletic. He's certainly got the look for it. Not that the look is the most important thing. And he's turned himself into a legitimately good, strong actor. So I don't see, honestly, I never saw what anybody's problem with it was. Now, if people who had a problem just with them making a Gambit movie at all, okay, that's different. That's a different issue. But if anybody wanted a Gambit movie, I do not for the life of me understand anybody who was so against the idea of Channing Tatum. He's got all the tools to do it. He brings some name power to it as well, but whether or not that movie's going to happen, I don't know. As far as him appearing in Gambit, I'm going to take the under. It would be awesome if he did, but I don't see it happening. So I'm going to take the under on that. But how great would it be if he did? All right. Anthony Collin writes, roses are red, violets are blue, Iron Spider loves you. Well, that's fine. It is unrequited love. I hate Iron Spider. Thank you for the poem, Anthony. Bomb Squad writes, the theater I work at is holding an early screening of Infinity War on Monday for employees, and I'm going to be out of town for a school trip. Why, God, why? Dude, that is something you skip a school trip for. I mean, depending on the school trip, you can always watch the movie a little bit later. But this goes back to a point somebody had written in to the show either last week or 2 weeks ago and said, you know who I really feel sorry for? Movie theater employees. Because they're going to be hearing all the people coming out of the movies talking about Infinity War. They're going to hear all the spoilers. And one of the things I said was, don't feel too bad for them, because not all theaters, but a lot of theaters, when the bigger movies are coming out, they have special staff screenings for their staff. Because when they get, I mean, the theaters get their hands on the movie a little bit early. And so what a lot of them will do is they'll do staff screenings. And because I know the general manager at a couple of AMC theaters, I have often been invited to these staff screenings. So I've gotten to see a few movies even earlier than some press screenings before, which is great. So I'm glad you're one of those too. But look, bottom line is you're still going to see Infinity War a couple of days later. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But if it means that much to you, how important is this school trip? I gotta ask, how important is a school trip? I mean, is it a trip to the farmer's market? And in that case, you skip it. Is it a trip to the White House? Well, then maybe you don't skip that one. But you got decisions. You got a tough decision here to make. School trip, Infinity War early. It all depends on what the school trip is. Scarlet Witch's husband. I love the username. That's great. What was the beef between you and Grace Randolph? You know what? I'm not even going to talk about it. It's online. It's easy to see. I'm not going to use up this. Fair enough that you asked. That's fine. Fair enough that you ask. I'm not poo-pooing on you for asking, but we're not here to talk about drama. We're here to talk about entertainment and movies and stuff. And it's all well documented. You can find it online. Maybe One Name writes, I want a Peter hot toy. See what I'm saying? Everybody is talking about Peter. I guarantee you, there are filmmakers or there are toy makers scrambling to get the licensing, buying a licensing right to make Peter toys, because Peter toys are going to sell hot. And if you could get, I'm telling you right now, if there was a hot toy of Peter in his skydiving pose and like with the stand and everything, and it was $300, they're going to sell out in 5 minutes. I guarantee you. If there was a hot toy available right now of Peter in his skydiving pose and everything for $300, they would sell out in moments. And I would be one of the people lining up to get one. It's incredible. Okay. Happy Sanjo writes, critics usually have 1 or 2 reviews that don't line up with what they have said in previous reviews. Similar movies. Make for a bad reviewer. Let me try this again. Critics usually have 1 or 2 reviews that don't line up with what they have said in previous reviews about similar movies. Make for a bad reviewer. No, normally, here's what it comes to. Really, it comes to, so you may perceive that it doesn't line up, but it probably does. Like, for instance, I had somebody insist to me that, I can't remember the exact movies that we were talking about, but I'll give you an example, right? There was a Transformers movie that I thought was just dumb and just stupid. Then there was another movie I had once reviewed. I can't remember which one it was specifically. It was another like kind of dumb, like Rampage, for example, right? And because the new Rampage is out, and I say it is dumb and stupid, but an awful lot of fun and very entertaining, and it works at the end of the day. And they weren't talking about Rampage. It was another movie, but it was something like that, okay? So they say to me, John, you're a hypocrite. First of all, I'm finding, what is with this country that is so illiterate that I'm finding most people don't even know what the word hypocrite means, because people are misusing it all the time. Anyway, you're a hypocrite because you say you don't like this Transformers movie because it's dumb and fun, but there's this other movie that's dumb and fun and you say you like it, so you're a hypocrite. It's like, hold on a second. Transformers was stupid and dumb and terrible. You can do stupid and dumb and make it effective and make it good and make it entertaining and make it have impact. One movie did that. One movie did not. So what I would probably suggest is that 9 times out of 10, when I ever hear somebody talking about a film critic and going, oh, you said this about this movie, but you said it was okay in that other one, usually because there are differences between them. 9 times out of 10, there are differences. And it's just the viewer who is making up a scenario in their head that is exactly the same. It's comparing apples to apples, when really it's not. It's usually comparing apples to spaceships. That's normal. The other 1 time out of 10, remember, a film critic will watch. Here's the difference, and this is where I find this gets a little bit frustrating sometimes. What average moviegoers tend to forget is that the only difference between a lot of film critics and you are 2 things. Number 1, that the film critics see a lot more movies than you do, which is understandable. That's their job. They see tons more movies. But the second thing is that they document their opinion about a movie and put it out publicly. So it's there to be scrutinized. You don't do that. There's nowhere that Happy Sanjo, like there's not a Happy Sanjo website that has full documentation of every movie you've ever seen and all your opinions on them. So people can't go through your opinion history. People can't go through your history of opinions with a fine-tooth comb. So what will happen sometimes is that, hey, a film critic gives an opinion about a movie 7 years ago, says something today, and there is apparently something that's a little bit contradictory between something he says about one movie today and a movie he said about 400 movies ago, 7 years ago. Well, that can often just be then ascribed to, hey, tastes evolve, tastes change. Maybe something that didn't work for him before is something that works for him now. Maybe something that did work for him before is something that doesn't work for him now. Or maybe there are some minor differences between the 2 different movies that make that thing not work then, but make it work now. So no, it doesn't make for a bad reviewer. It doesn't. Most of the time, it's in the perception of the reader. But even at times that it's not, look, a film reviewer is still a human audience member whose own perceptions and tastes and things will change a little bit from year to year. So no, that does not make for a bad reviewer. It doesn't make for a bad reviewer at all. Ben Heyusa writes, I read someone comment of the Deadpool 2 final trailer saying maybe the next movie would probably be X-Force Origins Peter. Best trailer, I agree though. See, that's the thing. I wasn't even 100% sure there would be another Deadpool 2 trailer. I wasn't 100% there would even be another Deadpool 2 trailer, let alone that would be better than the last one. And this was absolutely the best one. And it does raise the questions, when is the X-Force movie coming? I saw somebody was asking me, what's this shirt? For those of you who have not seen this shirt before, this is my Ron Solo shirt. Of course, one of my favorite characters, probably my favorite character for one of my all-time favorite shows, Parks and Rec, and it's Ron Solo. Anyway, so that's what that is. And yes, Peter all the way. Peter origin story. Okay. Randall Cartwright writes, Ubisoft just announced Deadpool 2's David Leitch to direct video game movie The Division with Jessica Chastain and Jake Gyllenhaal. Could be interesting. Yeah, I saw that news break the other day. Could be interesting. I'll get more excited for it once I see Deadpool 2. Because if Deadpool 2 sucks, which it might, who knows, right? Infinity War might suck. I'll get more excited about that news after that. But I mean, first of all, Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain in the same movie. Are you kidding me? Great. And if Deadpool 2 works out as well as it's looking like it will, having David Leitch attached to it to direct is also fantastic. By the way, this is a good opportunity for me to mention to you guys, there is a good 60% chance that there's not going to be a John Campea show later this afternoon. As I mentioned, Today is moving day. The movers are coming. I'm going to be working pretty hard within, getting all the stuff moved in. So while my office is set up, there's still a 40% chance there'll be a John Campea show today. However, there's also a good possibility there's not going to be one today. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up right now, just so you're aware. So if like 2 o'clock rolls around and there's no show, then there's probably no show. If 2 o'clock runs around, you see that notification that there's going to be one, then there's going to be one. I'm going to do my best. But again, I can't make any promises because today's moving day. Anna's already not terribly thrilled with me that I'm here doing this show right now instead of over at the house helping her. But anyway, we'll get through. That's why I'm probably going to cut today's show just a little bit short so I can get back over there and help Ann with the rest of the stuff. James B. writes, "Hey, John, hope you're having a good day." I am having a good day, James. Thank you so much. It's moving day. I'm very excited about moving into our new place. What did you think of, if you saw it, that is, Equalizer 2 trailer? Loved the Equalizer 2 trailer. Loved it. I thought it looked great. There are some comparisons being made between the new trailer and like the feel of John Wick. But Robert McCall was around before John Wick was. And I love seeing Denzel in these types of things. And that whole little motif he's got going where he checks, that he times everything is just beautiful. And I loved the first one more than most people did. Like I just adored that first one. I thought it was great. And I was very excited for a sequel. Even though it's coming later than I wanted it to, I'm very excited for the sequel. I thought the trailer delivered. So yeah, I thought it looked great. Let's see. Trevor Johnson writes, just watched the making of Jurassic Park narrated by James Earl Jones. The amount it propelled visual effects forward is amazing. Would recommend it. I have not seen that, but true story. Going to your point about how much Jurassic Park propelled visual effects, Jurassic Park was the movie that made, when Steven showed it to George Lucas, that made George Lucas go, the time has come that I can make more Star Wars movies. The effects industry has evolved to the point now that I can make new Star Wars movies. Now, whether that's a good or a bad thing is up for debate, but it is Jurassic Park that made George Lucas go, now we can do this. And then, so Jurassic Park did propel the visual effects art forward. And then came The Phantom Menace, which, as much as I detest The Phantom Menace, it was no other film in history was ever a bigger leap forward in the art of visual effects than The Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace revolutionized visual effects and what could be done. It redefined what was possible. But the stepping stone to get to that was George Lucas watching Jurassic Park. So this documentary sounds fascinating, Trevor. I'm going to have to check it out, especially if it's narrated by James Earl Jones. I will look into that. Thanks for bringing it up. I never even heard of it before, so thanks for mentioning it. Kick It to the King Productions writes, what do you think of Dark Phoenix being the last X-Men movie? Is New Mutants going straight to Disney streaming and then never see the light of day in theaters? No, I doubt that. I highly doubt. I mean, it's possible, but look, at this point, there is no Disney deal. Remember that. It's really important to keep that in mind. As of right now, there is no Disney deal. There is the high potential for a Disney deal. Disney and Fox have gotten the terms all set up, but it's got to be finalized, it's got to be ratified, and the government's got to give their okay on it. And with the way things are going with the AT&T and Time Warner merger being held up, it's possible this Fox deal with Disney never happens. I think it's like an 80% chance it does. I think it is more than likely that it does happen, and it happens sometime mid-2019. But as of right now, there is no deal. So, no. Whether or not the Dark Phoenix will be the last X-Men movie, I don't know. It really all depends on what Disney's plans are for the X-Men franchise once they get them. It does seem to me like you have to reboot, because you simply cannot explain the history of mutants in the X-Men universe being able to coincide with the global history we have in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that has never mentioned mutants or mutation or anything like that. It also means you can't use Magneto, because the MCU happens in modern context. Magneto now in the X-Men continuity is, Ian McKellen's not coming back to play Magneto. So it seems to me that if this deal goes through, that's still a big if, but if the deal goes through, it seems to me like the thing that Marvel has to do is reboot. And that's probably what's going to happen. All right. Next thing comes to us from Jesse Martin, who writes, "Hey, John, happy 420. Yeah, I keep forgetting today is 420, isn't it? Happy 420. Just wanted to know your favorite stoner movie. The original Super Troopers, Pineapple Express. How high are the top 3 for me?" I mean, you got to go back to like the original Cheech and Chong films. Pineapple Express, Pineapple Express is one that my appreciation for Pineapple Express has grown a little bit. I always thought the movie was okay, but not great. I never thought the movie was great. I always thought it was okay. But I saw it again recently. It's like, you know what? I think I like it a little bit more than I did. Not a huge amount, but a little bit more than I did. But yeah, when I think of stoner movies, my mind instantly goes to the old classic Cheech and Chong films. Those are the ones my mind instantly goes to. Let's see. Okay, I just got a couple minutes more, and then I gotta head back to the house there and get Ann. By the way, guys, any live questions that you sent in, don't worry about it. I'm going to take those, put those in my other document, and I will get to those in a companion video either later today or probably tomorrow's when it'll air. And I've got a couple of days worth being piled up here. Again, my apologies that I haven't kept up with the companion videos lately in the last day or two. It's just that with the move and all that kind of stuff, it's been really busy. Hopefully, we'll get back into a regular flow of things here pretty soon. Okay, Matthew Jund writes, "Do you think The Rock should slow down so he can dive more thoroughly into a role? 20 movies a year limits his ability to develop unique characters." Well, I mean, look, not everybody's a method actor. Not everybody's a method actor. And remember, he's not writing the script. So, no, I think, look, a good actor could play a different character every single day of the week. Unless you're somebody like, a Jared Leto or something like that, who's a method actor who needs to be able to do this. But that's not The Rock. That's not what The Rock is. And as far as developing the characters, well, I mean, a lot of that is going to come from the script. And then it's all about how well does The Rock portray what's in the script. So, no, hey, look, The Rock is doing what The Rock does. Dwayne Johnson is doing the kinds of movies that people love Dwayne Johnson doing. And if he wants to evolve beyond that into a different kind of movie, that's fine. But right now, he's this big, huge, hulking action star, and he can't do that forever. So why not take advantage of that while you can? And then once he turns 50 or something like that, if he wants to start going into these other types of roles and really go more in depth into his acting and stuff like that, then he can do that then. Right now, he's got a window of time that he can be this big, hulking, amazing, best action star in the world. There's a finite window that you can do that. So hey, why not take advantage of that and crank those movies out? And as long as they're as fun as entertaining as Jumanji was and as Rampage is, then I say keep doing it. Go for it. All right, last question of the day comes to us from Tinisvlado Mendoza, who writes, "Did you buy a PS4 in God of War? I mean, it's not like you're busy the next couple of days, right?" No, I did not. And it's funny because Ray was over here yesterday helping do the move and everything. And I was mentioning, I'm thinking about getting a PS4 just so I can get that. And Ray was like, "Dude, I'm not even using my PS4 right now. Why don't you just borrow mine?" So I'm like, okay, so I don't have to buy a PS4. So I will probably, here's the thing. Moving today and probably for the rest of the weekend. Monday, oh my God, Monday is the Infinity War premiere. Infinity War premiere on Monday. So that's great. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a total dick right now. Give me one quick second here. Let me pull this up if I can find it in time. I know I've got it here. Give me a second. Oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't. Hold a second. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the delay, but I really want to get this thing here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Give me a second here. Okay. So I will just share this with you because you guys are my friends. There's my invitation. I've blocked out locations and stuff like that on there, but there's my invitation to the world premiere of Avengers Infinity War on Monday. I'm so excited. Okay, so so moving today, probably the rest of the weekend. Monday is Infinity War premiere. And then Tuesday morning, I fly to Las Vegas for CinemaCon. Now, I'm going to be doing my shows and videos from Las Vegas, and I'm going to be able to give you guys like in-depth stuff and reports on what's going on and what all the studios are showcasing at CinemaCon. It's better than Comic-Con. Seriously, if you're a movie fan, CinemaCon is like twice as good as Comic-Con. But at any rate, so I'm probably 2 weeks away from going down and picking up God of War and then borrowing Ray's PS4 and playing it for a while. So I'm probably at least a couple of weeks away from being able to do that. But I will keep you guys informed as to what's going on. All right, guys, that will do it for today's installment of Open Mic, the very first show from my new digs. I know on camera it looks very much the same, but believe me, the amount of space I've got in here now is going to allow me to do some more stuff in the coming months, which I'm very excited about. Thanks a lot for being here today, guys. Maybe I'll see you a little bit later today on the John Campea Show. We're going to have to see how the day kind of plays out. Again, no guarantees. Once again, if I didn't get around to one of the questions that you sent in, don't worry about it. I'm going to take those, put them aside, and I will be doing a companion video either later tonight or tomorrow when I've got a few, when I got like an extra hour or two put together that I can get to these things. But I will get to them. Thank you so much, guys, for your support and for not just your support in contributing the questions and using Super Chat, which supports the channel and lets us pay Ray to do graphics and pay Jonathan to do editing and all that kind of stuff. But just thank you for being here and being part of the conversation. And you guys make this job fun. You guys make this job worth doing, and I have so much fun with you guys. Thank you so much for participating and being a part of it all. Anyway, that'll do it for me. Ann is probably getting ready to call me and scream at me for not being over there helping her moving things over, so I got to get over there and do that. Thanks so much for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye, guys.